Hey guys, this is Samwise511, and I'm here to review the high grade After Colony 1 to 144 scale Wing Gundam from Mobile Report Gundam Wing. And this will be my first review. And you might ask if I have the rest of the boy band. I do, and I plan on making reviews of those kits as well. So, if you'd be so kind, you may go ahead and subscribe to this channel and click that notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. Okay, so before we start, I'd like to add a few information regarding this kit. So this was released in September 17, 2013 at the price of 1,500 Japanese yen. And during this time, this was the kit, or rather, this was released during the time that Build Fighters started airing in Japan. And alongside the kits that they were releasing for Build Fighters, they were also releasing model kits, rather called Revive, as they call it nowadays. Wing Gundam never really had an impressive one kit at 1/144 scale at that time. The real grade wasn't released as well during that time because that was recently released last year. Or was it last year or 2001? I'm not really that sure. But when this came out, rather, the sole purpose of the kit or the line during that time, and by the way, it was called the All Gundam Project. Okay, so basically they were making rehashes of the old 1 to 144 kits back then into a new format, or rather a format wherein parts can be interchanged. And as the name of the anime during that time suggests, Build Fighters, kit bashing was a thing. Okay, so joints, arms can be swapped out. Basically, they're using a universal format, which is also used to this day. Okay, so basically, those are ball jointed shoulders, ball jointed torsos, 3mm pegs used for leg attachments and such. So basically, compatibility is their game, and to make better versions of the kits from late 90s rather. So this is not the first 1 to 144 scale kit of the Wing Gundam. There was an old 1 to 144 no grade released back in 1995, the same time when Gundam Wing aired. So 2013 they released this. Back then, when this was initially released, or rather announced, was already hyped. I mean, everyone was already anticipating for the high grade Wing Zero, which eventually did come out a year after. But during that time, the rest of the boy band wasn't really what do you call this, in the minds of the hobbyists. I mean, it was okay for them to just have the lead suit, and yeah, nobody was actually anticipating during that time. But another reason why this was released is because one of the characters in Build Fighters uses a customized, or rather heavily customized, Wing Gundam, which was like Wing Gundam Fenice. Now, if you guys want a review of that kit as well, I do have that kit as well as its Meteor Hopper unit. So let me know down at the comments if you want that review as well. Okay, so enough rambling about the kit. Let's now proceed with the build. Okay, so during that time, this was actually pretty groundbreaking because to get a really good representation of the Wing Gundam in 1:144 scale. The color separation is actually excellent, close to perfection actually. But you will have to, like any high grade, some effort is needed to bring out the most out of the kit, especially the missing color apps. So some of them notably are, let me just turn this turntable off. Okay, so most of the color apps that you need to paint in are these black sections on the round pieces on the shoulder, and then these Vulcans on the chest unit, Vulcans in the head, and ventings. Those need to be painted black. These little sections in the wings. Okay, so yeah, and then black all over the waist unit, some black details over at the knees, venting sections on the knees as well, and gray on the feet. So those are the notably color corrections that you need to do, or rather paint in. Now, one more thing about this kit is that the stickers, like any high grade, stickers usually are included. So the sensor stickers that are included with the kit are not really that color accurate per se. They came in that tealish or bluish hue, which is not really so accurate during that time. I'm not really sure what they were thinking during that time, so I went ahead and painted it using Tamiya metallic gold and metallic green Gundam markers for the eye sensors and the cameras. So basically this build is stickerless, no stickers used. Okay, so that's things that we need take note of in the build. Okay, so one more thing I'd like to include here is that gate placement during that time is also not so good. So you're gonna have to put in the work to actually sand down the nubs. But overall, the kit itself is pretty much presentable, right, straight out of the box. It's just that you had to ignore the fact that the stickers are blue instead of green. Okay, so smooth build. It's not really that hard. I would also recommend it to beginners because simply because straight out of the box you don't really need to do too much to get a presentable representation of the Wing Gundam in 1:144 scale. Second is the price. Priced at 1,500 yen. It's pretty cheap for a high grade. But then again, at the time of this recording, the real grade is out, but that one retails for around 4,000 yen. So a big price hike over the high grade. But the thing that you would consider when getting 1:144 scale high grade Wing Gundam, or 1:144 scale Wing Gundam, is also the color accuracy. I believe the real grade came in this very bright blue, which was off. Didn't really match the animation or the Wing Gundam as seen in the anime. So again, that's what the high grade has over it. Okay, so that's a few things to keep in mind. Now moving on to the accessories. Now the Wing Gundam comes with its signature Buster Rifle, shield, and beam saber. It doesn't really come much in terms of accessories, but it's everything that the Wing Gundam came with it show, so there's no, you can't really, fault the Gundam for it. But it's a standard loadout. Now, as you can see, there is one beam saber handle in the kit, but I mean, there is one beam saber handle and one beam effect, but the kit also includes a spare one or a second one. Now you can't really use it because it only comes with one handle, but it's a nice addition. Just in case that you lose one of the beam effects, you have one in handy. And to store the beam saber, by the way, this is also, it's color inaccurate. The handle needs to be molded in white, but I left it gray because I don't really want to. I mean, this goes in the hand, but if once you paint it without sanding, the paint will scratch off. So I left it gray. Okay, so to store the beam saber, all you have to do is open the bend out the shield, and inside the shield there is a peg. There, so you can just close it. There you have the beam saber stored inside the shield. And then next is the Buster Rifle, a signature weapon of the Wing Gundam. And fun fact, the Wing Gundam, or the TV version at least, only has 3 shots from this rifle. I'm not sure if you have noticed in the anime, but Hero, or the Wing Gundam, doesn't really use the beam rifle much after 3 shots. So it's either he discards it and then he uses the beam saber. So one thing you notice, the entire thing is molded in gray, this gray here. But unfortunately, you will have to paint in the dark gray or black details over here, as well as the ammo cartridges for show accuracy. For moving parts, you have a handle that tucks in for transformation to not bird mode, but bird mode. So yeah, that's the Buster Rifle. I also painted the scope green, but then again, the kit comes with a sticker sheet. It's just that it's color blue again. Sorry to ramble about that. But then again, it's pretty annoying that you have to do that. But the rest of the line, or the rest of the Wing Boys, are void of that issue, and they come in that proper metallic green. Okay, so for the articulation, we'll start with the from the head down. Okay, so for the head, it's on a double ball joint, so articulation, as expected from a ball joint, can wiggle, turn around, and do everything a ball joint does. The arms can swing or rather move around, but you'll have to move the wing off to the side to make it do the 360. Okay, so there's also a bicep swivel below the shoulder that can go 360 as well. Then down the elbows, there is a double jointed elbow, so that gives you just around 135, pretty much enough given the design. Now you'll see the talons, or rather the claws of the bird mode is also here, which also somewhat hinders the articulation of the elbow. But then again, that's part of the design. You also see that it also moves forward for the transformation to bird mode, and the wrist is on a ball joint. So for the torso, you can go up that far back, pretty far, that far forward. So that's a nice ab crunch, side to side. and a full 360. It's unhindered by the armor. Next is front skirts. They come molded together, but you can separate them for independent movement. Side skirts can come out that far, which again, it's plenty enough, and it can also swing back and forth. Now, for the crotch, or rather the hip joints, so it's on this swinging joint, so that moves together, so that gives you more, what do you call this, more movement in terms of the hips, so you can go for more dynamic poses or dramatic poses. So as for the leg movement in the skirts, the leg can kick that far, not much back, off to the side, almost a full splits, as long as the skirts can allow, but you can always swing out the side skirts for, well, not really, but that's as far as it can go. Knees are double jointed, and it's also because of the transformation, which I will also show later. Okay, then ankle armor is on a ball joint attached to the back, so that it's pretty unrestricted. Lastly, the foot, there's a toe hinge downwards, is also on a ball joint, so that can turn around some and can also tilt from side to side. Pretty nice range over for more wider ground poses. We'll move over to the wings, the main event of this, and the name of the Gundam itself. So it can spread up that high. It can also swivel or hinge and then swivel. So overall, the Wing Gundam is actually pretty posable, and it can get you most of all the poses you have in mind. There. So again, in terms of the articulation, it's pretty posable. Okay, so now we have the Wing Gundam in its signature bird mode or mobile armor mode. So it's basically just a Gundam lying on its back with a shield covering its face. So I can't really fault the kit for how it looks. It's basically what it exactly does in the anime, so you can't really fault the kit for that. But in terms of representing what it does in the show, it does it really, really well. So kudos to Bandai for designing this mode really, really good. No parts formation, except for you had to take off the hands, unfortunately, and you have also removed this adapter piece on the back skirt for you to plug into an action base at the bottom. So it's one of the things you had to take note of the mode. There's no denying that once you start looking underneath the bird mode, that it's just a Gundam lying on its back with a shield covering its face. Now, you can't really fault the model itself for such a simple transformation, because it's able to do exactly what it is doing in the anime. Now, in terms of the transformation sequence, it's pretty straightforward. It is explained in the manual, So, switching modes isn't really as hard. And in fact, for you know, the price of only 1,500 yen compared to the real grade, the transformation sequence is actually pretty easy. Um, I believe the real grade does it really, the arms are really complex and the legs are, pretty daunting in terms of transformation. But this is actually straightforward. It does what it does and nothing less. Um, yeah, looks wise, 10 out of 10. Given that you know exactly what a wing Gundam looks like when it's transformed, you can't really compare it to the likes of the Rizel or the Delta Plus or the Zeta, because those are actually pretty convincing in terms of transformation to their flight forms or their fighter forms. So, yeah, um, just set your expectations. And I don't think that you'll be displaying the Wing Gundam in its bird mode most of the time, because you'll most likely be displaying it in mobile suit mode more than this mobile armor mode. Um, but then again, you might actually think of getting two, one for each mode. Uh, it's up to you. So now we go to my thoughts and my verdict for the high grade After Colony Wing Gundam. Okay, so first is again, if you are to ask me whether or not to get this over the real grade, it's up to you. Okay, so first of all, again, the color is not as anime accurate as we all wanted it. Secondly, if you are to get the rest of the boy band or the rest of the wing Gundams, the real grade might actually overshadow the rest of the Gundams, because real grades are known to have more detail than the high grade counterparts. So, um, if you are looking into completing the complete set, I would highly suggest to get the high grade instead of the real grade. But then again, the real grade is good if you're not too picky into the details in terms of the color, and if you don't really mind the Wing Gundam being more detailed than the rest of the Gundams, or the rest of the five Gundams. Now, if you're to ask me if this is a good representation of the Wing Gundam, without being biased to this particular scale, um, I think the best representation of the Wing Gundam TV version is still the Master Grade. But if you don't really mind the few changes the real grade does with the design, especially with the wings, then that is a good kit as well. Now, the only reason for me to go for the high grade over the real grade and the master grade is to go along with the rest of the Gundam Wing boy band. So, if you're getting, or if you're just collecting solely all of the Wing Gundams, this is a good candidate. It's still a good purchase, even though it's simple high grade and all the limitations of the scale. Now, yeah, I think the only reason, again, for you to get this is for completion, anime accuracy, and posability. Because for high grades, it's a lot easier to mess around with the joints than, let's say, with the real grade. Actually, I'm not sure which reviewer it was, but I think it was Hobby Clubhouse. He pointed out that the knees were actually better on the high grade than the real grade, so that's a plus. So there. if you're not really into detail, or detail is not, if you're not looking for the most detailed version of the high grade, or rather the Wing Gundam itself, then the high grade should suffice. Now, if you were to ask me if I would recommend this kit for beginners, um, given that most of the fandom right now in the West and outside of Japan started with Wing, I would highly recommend this kit. Solely because nostalgic factor as well as ease of build. In terms of availability, I believe it's pretty common to find a Wing Gundam. Even, I mean, given that they have been through a few cycles of reprints over the years. Again, this was released back in 2013, and the fact that you're still able to find one of these on shelves right now only shows how much Bandai gives importance to the fandom of Gundam Wing. So, yeah, in terms of the color separation, again, I will not stress enough that this looks good right out of the box without any effort at all. At all. You just have to work on, or if you don't really mind, again, the blue stickers for the eyes, the sensors, and just all the green, or supposedly green details, then you're pretty much good. But if you're really into like the anime accuracy and all that, then you'll have to paint those instead of using the stickers. Minor paint apps again are easily paintable through just simple masking and hand painting. So in terms of being a beginner friendly kit, it's right up there. So with that, we end this review of the high grade After Colony Wing Gundam. If you have reached this point of the video, I would like to thank you guys for checking this out, and hopefully I improve as I continue to upload new content into this channel. You guys can follow me on my Instagram, samwise511. It's actually down there. And then if ever that you do like my content or this video, um, a sub would be really awesome, and that will motivate me to improve with my content. And the next video will be the high grade After Colony Gundam Sandrock. So again, this will be a series of reviews of the 5 main suits in Gundam Wing. So to all the Wing fans out there, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I was able to help you guys make a decision on whether to get this kit or not. And once again, this is Samwise511 signing off.